Hello, my name is Lakin and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna see how much I can read in 24 hours. So I have a really big TBR, like I'm sure a lot of you watching do as well. And I just want to get through my TBR. There's so many good books on there. I just want to read them all. And I know, logically, I'm not going to be able to read every book I want, but I'm going to try. So this is a 24-hour reading vlog. How many books in my TBR I can get through. And to do that, while also still enjoying the books and not rushing myself, we're going to be picking from the shortest books on my TBR. I have over 700 books on my TBR, and I've compiled a list of 35 of the shortest books that I am able to get a hold of fairly easily. And so that's what we're going to be working towards today. I'm not going to have a strict TBR for the day, but it will be books on this list. I'm not going to show all the books on here. If you want to see the books on my TBR, you can follow me on Storygraph and see all 700 of them there. So we got 35 of them, under 200 pages. Now, I do want to say one thing before we get into this reading vlog. The amount of books we read doesn't actually matter. I'm literally just doing this to enjoy the books on my TBR in a fun, interesting way, because a lot of times I put these shorter books on, but because they're so short, I'm like, oh, I'll get to them later. They'll be easy to get through. It's not that big of a deal. And I just push them off. So we're gonna tackle some of these short books and hopefully bring that over 700 number down quite a bit today through reading a bunch of short books. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the reading vlog. We're going to start off with some audiobooks while I play some Animal Crossing. So excited. One of my favorite things to do. Just listen to audiobooks while I play a cozy little game. Later on, we'll probably do some physical reading, but I think we're going to start off with Flowers for the Sea by Zin E. Rocklin. I don't remember much about this book because I feel like I've said this before, but I just passed Lakin, heard something, saw something about this book, favorited it, added it to the TBR, and we're just gonna trespass Lakin on this because I don't remember anything. I mean, the cover looks cool, the name sounds cool, so that sounds like a good book to me.
Dreamscape presents Flowers for the Sea by Zin E. Rocklin, narrated by Amina Karoma.
Okay, I've finished the first book, Flowers of the Sea, or For the Sea. Yeah, Flowers for the Sea. It was interesting. It was good. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. It does have really graphic depictions of pregnancy, labor, like just the entire book deals with like babies. And if you're sensitive to those types of things, luckily at the very beginning of the audiobook it says that, so like it wasn't a shock or anything. But if you are sensitive to that, maybe this one isn't for you, even if you've been wanting to read it. It's a little confusing. And I had to like keep going back and like replaying things because it would like at different points we'd be in the past, and then we'd be in a dream, we'd be in the present, and just like the writing was very pretty, but the writing was also like a little unclear at times in like differentiating all three of those different things. So I enjoyed it, but I think I'm gonna give it 2 stars, which like it sounds like a bad rating, but I'm trying to get better about like differentiating my ratings and not just giving everything 3 stars and up, essentially. Trying to get better at especially using like the 1 star, which this doesn't get a 1 star, but it does get a 2 star, which 2.5 is the middle ground. So I still think it's a book that I liked and enjoyed, but I probably won't be thinking about it. I probably won't reread it. But yeah, it was very, I wish it had delved more into the like, this baby might not be human and she might not be fully human type stuff. I thought that was interesting, and I wish it had dived more into that, but it's just a little novella, so yeah. But now we have to pick out the next one. I'm still playing Animal Crossing because I'm still cleaning up my island. I let the flowers grow wild. And while my island is very heavily flowered, it's a little too much, even for me. So I think we'll move on to Claimed by the Orc Prince by Lionel Hart. I remember hearing about this on TikTok, so I'm very interested in it. So yeah, let's do this one. Claimed by the Orc Prince is what we're reading now.
Next Big Adventure Audio presents Claimed by the Orc Prince by Lionel Hart, performed by Jeremy Fraser.
I just finished Claimed by the Orc Prince, and it was really cute. I really liked it. It was an erotic novel, but it wasn't just an erotic novel. It did a really good job of like feeling the two feelings between the two and watching their journey from being an arranged marriage to falling in love. And I mean all the spiciness in between as well, but I think it did a really good job. It is a trilogy. I don't know if I'm going to continue the trilogy. It did end on an interesting note, so I'm kind of interested to see where it goes, but I'm also not like super captivated to continue it. It completed a cute story all on its own. I don't know. Maybe if I have the opportunity to read the second and third book, I will, but we won't be doing that in this reading vlog. So now it's time to pick our third book. Oh goodness. I think it's gonna be a physical book, and I think I'm gonna get through some of like the really short physical books. I guess that is all determined first by if my Kindle is charged. So before I keep talking, I should probably check on that. My Kindle is not fully charged, and I don't like reading it when it's charging, so we'll wait on that. And either way, it's around lunchtime, so we're gonna start another audiobook so I can listen to it while I am prepping and eating lunch. And the audiobook we're gonna be listening to, or I'm saying we, but it's gonna be me. I mean, if you wanna read all these books along with me, I'm not gonna stop you, but we're not gonna be physically listening to them together. But the book we're going to be listening to is a nonfiction book called The Reason I Jump. I've been wanting to read this for a while. It's by Nokai Higashida. Written by a 13-year-old boy who has autism, and ever since my late diagnosis with autism, I've just been really interested in wanting to hear other autistic people's perspectives, because the reason I was so late diagnosed is because a lot of the views in media and by society are really stereotypical and really just one-sided. Like, there's only one way for an autistic person to be. So, yeah, I'm excited to finally get around to reading this, and hopefully I enjoy it. So I've finished The Reason I Jump. It was really good. It was interesting to hear someone, for one, that book does not sound like it was written by a 13-year-old. He is an amazing writer and very, very articulate. He was able to put into words some things that I do and experience that I don't even know how to put into words. So it was very fun to hear. I'll probably give the book 3 stars. Yeah, it's 3.5. It was very good, and I definitely recommend it. I definitely appreciate that it is a book written from an autistic person's perspective and not from the parent's perspective, which is what a lot of nonfiction books that whenever I was first diagnosed were given to me as reading recommendations. And it's sorry, that does not interest me. Because I've finished, my Kindle is fully charged. So we're gonna read some physical books. I think I may sit outside, because otherwise I'm just going to be sitting in the same spot this entire day, which, isn't that awful, but it's going to be really boring for a video. So, I think I'm going to start with, I have 3 here. I have The Cybernetic Tea Shop, I have It's Me, Charlie, and How I Stopped Being Hopeless. So, we have those 3 books here. I think I'm going to start with It's Me, Charlie, which is a horror short story. I think it's about the book community and a stalker and things like that. And it had lots of good reviews. So I'm excited for it. So I think I'm going to start with that one. What you doing? What you doing? I finished It's Me, Charlie. Ew. Ugh. So disgusting, yet so good. It's so the main character is obsessed with this author who writes erotic fiction or smut, and he kidnaps her, and the story goes from there. And it's graphic, but it's not it's not just like super dark. I don't know how to describe this that is safe for YouTube, but it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, like graphic sex-wise, especially because she is definitely not a willing participant. But she does get some really good revenge at the end, which was really enjoyable to read. But I was reading like the special edition version, so I got an extra bonus chapter at the end that made it to where it was like, what in the world did I just read? But it was really good, really quick read, which is a good thing because I was kind of sitting in the sun and I'm very pale. I burn very easily, but the book was just short enough that there will be no sunburns today. So now it's time to pick a different book, and I think I'm going to pick another physical book. I think I'm going to pick the How to Stop Being Hopeless. I think that one, because I think that's the shortest book of all of them that I have. So if I'm reading all these super short books, I might as well pick up the one that is the absolute shortest on my TBR. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna read next. So I finished the book From a Hopeless Romantic, How I Stopped... Bleh. From a Hopeless Romantic, How I Stopped Being Hopeless. That is the title. I don't know if I ever said the author's name. Here, let me go. It's written by Nora Lee. And this was the absolute perfect length for a self-help book. Perfect length. Because a lot of times I enjoy self-help books, but they just kind of repeat the same thing over and over again. Not all, but some. But this one just being like 50 pages, perfect length. I feel like I probably would have benefited from this self-help book more when I was younger, because a lot of the things it talked about, I've gone through and grown from. Not all of it. I think one of my favorite things about self-help books, and this one especially, is it just gives you those little reminders to better yourself and reminders of what you can do to improve things. Like with this one, just really reminding like positive self-talk, or even if you can't do positive self-talk, neutral self-talk, and just not looking at yourself with like self-deprecating humor or just self-deprecating talk in general, and not living your life for other people, living your life for yourself, showing yourself a version of self-love and self-care that is not just spa days and things like that. It's more of things that will... Hi. Hello. You're in my way. Excuse me. Oh, you're gonna come over here too now? You're not even in the shot. well, what it seems like they're saying to me is they're saying quit filming and get back to reading. But I did like this book. I think I'm gonna give it 3 stars, which, or maybe it's a 4-star self-help. Yeah, because I definitely can see myself easily rereading this again, and just picking out those little tidbits again to remind myself of things that I need to remind myself of. But yeah, I think I'm definitely going to go back to an audiobook, because by the end of reading that book physically on my Kindle, I just ended up pressing the little play button down there that has like an automated voice read it out to you. It's one of the like accessibility features. Because a lot of time with reading physically, the words get jumbled, and so it's easy if I'm listening along while I'm reading, but it was getting, by the end of it, I was just listening, and because it was just hurting my eyes. Definitely dinner time, so I'm gonna do an audiobook while I eat dinner. I think I'm gonna do Lucifer's Daughter by Kel Carpenter. So yeah, we're gonna read that audiobook. I'll let you know how it goes. So in the last clip, I said that I was gonna start reading Lucifer's Daughter by Kel Carpenter, and I finished that book that night. It's now a few days later because my days off are not connected. I realized I probably read around 12 hours that day, which is pretty good, but 12 hours is not an entire day. And I read plenty of books, so ending the video right there and just talking about Lucifer's Daughter and then calling it the end of the video, I feel like it was a success. You know, I read plenty of books. But there's actually 24 hours in a day. And my thought is, if I read that many books in 12 hours, how many more can I read in 12 more hours? So that's what we're gonna do. So it's now turned from how many books can I read in one entire day to how many books can I read in a total of 24 hours. So still the exact same concept, not really changing it, just instead of staying up all night to finish reading and end off at the same time that I started in the morning, we're just doing it on my days off, working it around my schedule. So, Lucifer's Daughter, I guess I should tell you about that now. I did not like it. It was really boring, which is really surprising to say about a book about the devil's daughter. The beginning, I really enjoyed the beginning, but as the story went on, Mowgli's wanting to tell you about it as well. Yeah. Yeah. But as the story went on, it got to the point where I wasn't enjoying reading it anymore, and I was just kind of like, there wasn't that much left in the book, so I was just like, I'll just finish it instead of DNFing it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give that book 1 star. It just wasn't, I'm not gonna continue the series. It definitely had interesting elements, like the 4 horsemen, and just can't even remember the main character's name, but Lucifer's daughter, she has a pet raccoon, and I really enjoyed the pet raccoon. Other than that, like, I enjoyed the characters. It was just, I don't know, it just wasn't, it lost its charm halfway through, and then it was just kind of like, ugh. Also, trigger warning if you want to read that book for sexual abuse, but I can mark it off my TBR because I read it. That's all that matters. So, because we had a few days, I decided to pick some books up that are on my TBR that I wanted to read from the library. One of them wasn't available for today. I thought I could give you a little library haul, especially because who doesn't love showing off the books that they're going to be reading? So the main book I got for this challenge that is on my TBR that I want to take it off is Afraid of Everything. So this book is, I guess, a younger reader book. It was definitely in the juvenile section. It has pictures and words, but it's about all these different phobias, different things. So I've always thought it would be interesting to read, interesting to see. So sure, why not? And then this one technically could fit into, this book definitely could fit into today because it is under 200 pages, but it's not on my TBR. So this is just a book that I saw and I thought I would pick it up. It's called Dear Cyborgs by Eugene Lim. And then we have the 8th installment of Yotsuba. I love this series so much. It's a manga. Excited to continue reading it. Continue reading the series. And then the last one is The Book of Eels by Patrick Stevenson. It's our enduring fascination with the most mysterious creature in the natural world. So, yeah. It's a nonfiction book, but it's about eels. Who wouldn't want to read a book about eels? I guess I could quickly add this to my TBR and then it counts for the video. I don't know. I have plenty of books already, so we probably won't be reading those, but we will be reading this one. I guess we might as well go ahead and read this. Why not? An alphabetical compendium of people's weirdest fears. Yes. Oh, and in my book belongs to, it says my deepest fear is, and you can write it down. That is cute. Yeah. This is what we're going to be reading as the first book of the day. I finished Afraid of Everything. It was really good. So, I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I knew it was about fears and that it was meant for a younger audience, but it's basically like each fear, because it's going through the alphabet of all these different fears. And then this part, instead of like talking about the fear, it's like a little spooky story revolving around that fear. So like this one is like a little spooky story about electricity and things like that. And it's really cute. And then like the stories are really good. I really enjoyed them. And then like at the end, there's like some bonus stories that after it goes through A to Z. I think some of the best stories in here, let's see. The first one, the fear of spiders, was really good. The electricity one was good. The fire one was good. There's one about being scared of being watched. That was good as well. There's one about germs that was good. And then of the bonus ones, There was an Alien Fear one that I enjoyed. The hair one was probably one of the best out of the entire book. And then I also really liked the one that's A Fear of Being Old or Getting Old as well. So, yeah. If you've read this book, if you know what those stories are, let me know which ones were your favorite. But yeah, so now it is time to pick our second book of the day, which I think I'm going to do The Secret History of Brands. I don't really have a good reason. It's just out of the books that I have available, I kind of want to read that one next. So, oh, and I'm also going to give this book 4 stars. I'm going to start with The Secret History of Brands, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so it's definitely a lot later. I couldn't do an update right after I finished The Secret History of Brands because we had some people cutting down a tree. So I don't know if it was seen in the clips when I was outside before, but we used to have a giant tree back there and now it's gone. So that's great. But because I couldn't update, I'm now gonna be updating you on 2 books. And one is The Secret History of Brands, and then I picked up Before Ever After by Jacqueline Woodson as well. And I enjoyed both of those books a lot. The Secret History of Brands, basically a bunch of these brands have ties to Nazis and supported Adolf Hitler and things like that, so that's amazing. Not really. But then there were some other brands about had some weird obsession with sexual purity and different things like that. Very, very odd, very interesting. Highly recommend it. There was only one of the brands that I didn't recognize. Most of them were Coke, Ford, Kellogg's, Chanel, and things like that. And so I think I'm gonna give that one 4 stars. So far so good, 2 4 stars. And Before Ever After was also really good. Oh my goodness. There were at points when I was crying. Such a short book, but so good, so impactful. It was able to tell the story in a unique verse way that I really enjoyed, and I'm gonna have to sit on the star rating of that one. I don't know if it's a 3, 3.5, or maybe a 4. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. It's probably a 3.5. I may just round it up to a 4. I don't know. I'm gonna have to sit on that one. But I enjoyed that one as well. I kind of knew I would. I've read some of Jacqueline's other books and I've enjoyed them as well. So that wasn't that much of a surprise. So now it's time to pick our next book, our 4th book of the day. Oh my goodness. And I think it's gonna be one of my physical books, The Cybernetic Tea Shop. I think that's what it was called. I think that one's gonna be the next one we read. I've finished The Cybernetic Tea Shop by Meredith Katz. That was really, really cute, wasn't it? That was really cute. The main character was asexual, which was a nice surprise. I enjoyed that. Although it doesn't really talk about it much, it just says it in one little thing, but I don't know. That's just nice. Because I don't often see it in books. And so when I do, especially when I'm not expecting it, it's like, oh, hello, how are you? So I feel like I'm repeating myself with all these book ratings, but that is definitely a 4, maybe even 4.5. Am I going to round it up to 5 stars? I'm going to have to sit with it a little bit longer. Like, the thing with shorter books is the rating can change because, like, I don't sit with them for long enough for me to, like, really determine a rating like I do with, like, longer books. Longer books, I kind of have a feeling of the rating as I'm going, but with these, I don't, because it's just a shorter length of time. So it's definitely 4, but maybe it's a 5. Who knows? But that's exciting. So now I guess I'm gonna read, let me see. Whatever I read next will probably be the last book, because by the time I finish this, or by the time I'm almost finished with it, Walter will be home from work, and I just want to spend, and we'll be doing our normal evening activities. So if not, obviously I'll let you know, but I think the last book I'm going to read is The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin. I thought I would end this video in a nice, like, set up my camera, do everything, but I just don't feel like doing all that. So we're basically ending it in the same spot we've been in this entire time. So I filmed this video over 2 different days. We had 2 reading days, roughly around 12 hours each day. So that makes 24 hours of reading. And the whole goal was to read as many books as possible to shorten my TBR. Get books off my TBR that have been on my TBR. And if I pull up my story graph, well, I took screenshots before we started this of where my reading goal was at for the year and how many books were on my TBR. So my reading goal was I had read 26 books so far this year. So I was like 52% of the way through my reading goal. And I had 771 books on my TBR. That's a lot of books. But through all the reading we did, we jumped our reading goal up to 36 books for the year. And I dropped my TBR down to 758. So we got 13 books off my TBR, thankfully. I will let you know that I said I was going to start The Fire Next Door, The Fire on High, the James Baldwin book. The Fire Next Time. That book, yes. I'd said I was going to start it and I could possibly finish that before my partner got home. And then maybe if I wanted to, I could read another book and just kind of push it. But he ended up coming home early, so I did not finish that book. And I could have cheated and like read it later, because it is a few days after I've done that and then just added it in. You wouldn't have known, but I decided not to do that. So I'm still currently reading that book. I am really happy with what we read. 13 books is really good. And also, one of the books I discovered on my list that I had to pick from, I'd already read. I had clicked on it because I thought I had, but I wasn't for sure. And then when I clicked on it and listened to a little bit of it, it all came back to me. And I read that book like last year, and just for some reason, it never got documented. What I think happens is sometimes when I listen to audiobooks at work, I don't update Storygraph as soon as I finish them. And with it being such a short book, I just kind of forgot about it. So it never got actually inputted. But let's kind of go over the books again that I read. So we have Flowers for the Sea by Zin E. Rocklin. I gave that book 2 stars. Claimed by the Orc Prince by Lionel Hart. Gave that book 3 stars. The Reason I Jump by Nokai Higashida. 4 stars. From a Hopeless Romantic, How I Stopped Being Hopeless by Nora Lee. 4 stars. Lucifer's Daughter by Kel Carpenter. I gave that book 1 star. Afraid of Everything by Adam Tierney. I gave it 4 stars. Before Ever After by Jacqueline Woodson. I gave 4 stars. After sitting on it for a little bit, I gave It's Me, Charlie by C.M. Gutierrez 5 stars. And then The Cybernetic Tea Shop by Meredith Katz. I gave 4 stars. And then The Secret History of Brands by Matt McNabb. I gave 3 stars as well. So I believe that is all the books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That number doesn't add up. Let me be sure I added everything. Oh, I know what it is. The Fire Next Time is currently out of my TBR because I'm currently reading it. And another book that was on my TBR is off my TBR. And that's why I'm currently reading it. So, and then the book that I thought I had read, or thought I hadn't read, but apparently I had, was also taken off. Okay, so I read 10 books, but those 3 books are the reason that we took 13 books off my TBR. Okay, that makes sense. I thought I was going like a little cross-eyed from numbers with that, but I figured it out. I understand what's going on. That's all that matters. So, got 13 books off my TBR. I could definitely re-add 13 books to my TBR. I'm very happy with that number. I'm very happy with getting to finally read some of these books that have been on my TBR for a long time. And I will probably do this again until I have no more books that are under 200 pages on my TBR. I don't know. Maybe not anytime soon. Because while it was very fun, it was also very tiring to read that much in such a short amount of time. Like, I like reading a lot, but sometimes my eyes, they just need a break because they don't always work properly. And with this challenge, I'm over the halfway point of my reading goal, which is really nice, especially because we're almost halfway through the year. So, yeah, I guess there's not much left to say. I would highly recommend doing this. Take 1 day off a month and just knock out a whole bunch of your small books. You'll feel really accomplished and you'll get to see that TBR number go down, which is so very rare for people like us. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what were your thoughts, or if any of these books you want to read now. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye!